Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You do your introductory roll call.
Sure will. President Everard is absent. Vice President Wazorek.
Here.
Treasurer Zimmerman.
Here.
Secretary Zeller.
Here.
Trustee Briggs is absent. Trustee Leahy.
Here.
Trustee Zurich.
Here. Moving on to 3.2, appointment of President Pro Tem. Consideration of a motion to adopt Vice President Ron Wazorek as President Pro Tem for the Committee of the Whole meeting, December 11th, 2025.
So moved.
Do we need a second?
Yes. Second.
Thank you.
Trustee Zurich.
Yes.
Vice President Wazorek.
Yes.
Treasurer Zimmerman.
Yes.
Secretary Zeller.
Yes.
And Trustee Leahy.
Yes. Right, your official name.
Very good. So public comments, number 1.
I'm not seeing any raised hands online.
Is there anyone in the room? Is there anyone in the room that wishes to make a?
Is there anyone in the room who would wish to make a comment? Okay. We'll move on then to the presentations. Can we move to 5.1 or
You can
we're
do
good to go?
5.1. You're good to go.
Honoring County Administrator Pete Austin. And I'd like to read a proclamation honoring Peter B. Austin for his exemplary service to McHenry County Conservation District while serving in his role as McHenry County Administrator. Whereas McHenry County District has protected over 25,754 acres of open space in 35 conservation areas, 45 miles of regional trails that provide access to more than 115 miles of integrated trail network, act to restore its lands to their ecological health, offers educational programs that encourage the appreciation of the natural environment and a fundamental understanding of the environmental ethic, and develops its lands for the safe, quiet enjoyment and interests of McHenry County residents. And whereas the district is supported in its efforts by dedicated staff, volunteers, many external agencies engaged in a variety of activities and support, including protection of natural resources and the flora, fauna, and people who share them, site facility maintenance and improvement, natural area restoration, trail cleaning and monitoring, wildlife monitoring and care, environmental, historical, cultural interpretation, education outreach programs, and many other endeavors. Whereas Peter B. Austin was appointed County Administrator of McHenry County on June 27, 2005, and has served with distinction for more than 2 decades. And whereas throughout his tenure, Mr. Austin has provided steady, thoughtful, collaborative support to the Conservation District, ensuring the delivery of high-quality shared services with integrity, accountability, and professionalism. And whereas his continued support with trustee appointments has strengthened the Conservation District's Board of Trustees. And whereas Mr. Austin's collaborative support to the Conservation District's projects and initiatives such as groundwater monitoring, oak ecosystem study, the remaining of the NEPA and trail connections not only help the district, but also help to make the community better. And where his knowledge, professionalism with McHenry County Council of Governments administrators meetings help build strong partnerships across local governments and regional agencies that have fostered teamwork with shared success. And whereas his dedication, vision, and professionalism have created a lasting legacy of leadership, leaving the county well positioned for the future. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Trustees of the McHenry County Conservation District, Illinois, hereby recognizes and commends Peter B. Austin for his outstanding service, unwavering commitment, exemplary contributions to the Conservation District, the county, and its residents. Dated at the McHenry County Conservation District, Woodstock, Illinois, this 11th day of December, 2025.
Need a second?
Secretary Zeller,
Yes.
trustee Leahy,
Yes.
treasurer Zimmerman,
Yes.
vice president Wazorek,
Yes.
trustee Zurich,
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it. This is beautiful.
this way. This way. Okay.
And then we will have it signed and then give it back to you. Just because it needs also say just a minute to get all the fingerprints, but you can look at it, but we'll get you it.
So Peter, any thoughts?
I do have a couple of thoughts, it's timely that at the committee of the whole meeting today, I got to thank a lot of staff for all the help I've had over the last couple of decades. Need to do that here as well. Elizabeth and Andy and John, did great team members, almost the whole time I've been here, been working alongside each other. I don't intend to go anywhere. But I was staying in Crystal Lake and gonna be regular users of the Conservation District properties, and maybe you can even convince me to be a volunteer and learn how to do a controlled burn or some of the very indigenous species that are. I have a little more time on my hands now, a little more flexibility, and I look forward to some of those opportunities. So thank you very, very much. Real asset.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along, 5.2 fiscal year 2027 preliminary budget presentation.
Andy is going to do the pleasure here. And tonight you're getting basically what we've discussed over the last several months before we get it in final form, review in January to pass the tentative budget. So Andy's going to do his amazing presentation here. He always does. Amazing with all the moving parts. So let me make you a co-host here. And he's good to go. So you can share the screen. And then in your board packet, you had the document with all the narratives. And so again, now's the time we're going back to make sure if there's any things that need to be structured, worded differently, or correcting those corrections. So when we present it in its tentative form, it's all good. And we'll be over in the county after the new year. We'll be in March.
Well, I'm really seeing half a screen. Just small, I guess you're seeing the whole thing, just small.
It's full at home.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect. So what I'm focused on mostly today, in August, if you remember, we brought you a pretty detailed budget assumptions we're using, and they included detailed comprehensive revenue projections, and we spent a lot of time going through each revenue, covered some of the basic expenditures. So I'm not going to go through all that again, lucky for you guys. I'm just going to go through some of the big changes between what we're presenting today as the draft tentative budget and what we presented back in August. This is a reminder, this is what we actually presented to you and the guidance we were looking for objectives. So this is what drove what we're looking at. So to start with a look at the revenues. The presentation in August showed a total revenue growth of 1.1% over the current 26 budget. And so one that did change from August is the property tax revenue. So again, in August, we showed a 3.7% growth. What's in front of you today is 4.9%. It's 117,000 more. So we didn't change the levy. Just remember, we didn't do the levy until September, right? So we hadn't finalized it. So this is the levy calculation that we presented to you in September. It has not changed. What did change is we shifted some of the insurance fund levy into the general fund to help mitigate what we know is going to be a shortfall in liquidity. It's only about a little more than $100,000 difference. So this is the actual board levy ordinance you approved. And that hasn't changed. That levy request of 209 is the same you approved. It's just now you can see it in the tentative in August. We obviously didn't have that. The farm lease revenue is unchanged from August. So if you remember, we came in and we looked at where we were in August, and the December 26th corn in August was at 460, right? And we got to get all the way up to February, because what's going to drive the revenue is the average of December 26th corn during the month of February. So we didn't know. We thought the most likely would be that 460. So that's what we built into the tentative budget. That's what we showed you in August and the projections we were doing. As I bring that forward to just yesterday, hasn't changed much. It's a good thing. 464, it's up a little bit. So we've seen it go up and down now. So now we just got to get through February. Ways to go, but it's sitting good for what we have in the budget at 460 unchanged from in August. State personal property tax, I don't have any better idea today than I did then. It's unchanged. So investment income, I've actually increased it a little bit, 9,600, and that's really because I've refined the reserves as we go along, right? When I started in August, it's July information I'm using, so things have changed. I'm showing a little higher reserves. I've actually tweaked the interest down a little bit. I was holding, I think I took fiscal year 27 to 4.25. Now I'm down to 350 in these projections. So, and that's kind of blending with what we're seeing happen with the Fed Reserve. So we should be pretty good. And again, an additional $9,600 in interest income over what we showed in August. The program services and other revenues, they're really unchanged. If you look in that far right column, one's up 750, there's 749. So it's no difference from the August presentation. So again, all in all, a 2.3% increase is what we're proposed for revenue over the prior year, jumping right into expenditures. And I'll go back and summarize this again a little bit. So the first thing we're doing is we're looking at inflation, which is that green line, and we had it through August. We're almost to September. It was about 3% year to date at that time. Unfortunately, there's no updates for the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's still showing September. They don't have October, November out. It looks like we're going to be around that 3% anyway, but there's no final numbers in. But we really use that to drive the wage request for the board, which is also that 3%. So the blue line we've looked at before, it shows the annual wage increase for the staff. And you could, or I'm sorry, the green line is the wage increase. The blue line is the inflation. So you can see they mirror, they're parallel, as we've looked at before, pretty closely. And again, the 3% wage increase, we incorporated the 27 budget, very similar to what we expect inflation to be. So for the non-bargaining, the 3% economic merit increase for the 150 bargaining employees, their contract calls for the 3%. So it's a contractual wage increase. That contract expires March of 28. For the FOP, theirs ends March of 26. And we're going to start that negotiation process this month and tentatively. So we worked in a 3%, assuming the same increase. That's been included in the tentative. Personnel expenditures. So for the wages, we had a 2.7% increase is what we showed you in August. Again, that's at 3%. And we obviously had new people come in at lower wages, driving it down a little bit. We're showing basically the same thing today. It's actually a little bit lower as we tweaked it out and new people have come on and then adjusted the wage accordingly. So we're showing a $3,200 less in total wages than we showed you in August. For the retirement, I'm showing an increase of $28,000. In August, I showed basically no increase, and that was driven by FICA. So the IMRF percentage has not changed. It's 8.6% for fiscal year 27. That's what we're paying in 26. My FICA calculation was wrong, so I've corrected that. So now you're seeing that 2% where it should be. So it aligns with the wage increase at 2.7%. That's a $28,000 increase from what we showed in August. Employee insurances are really not changed much, short of $5,600. Again, new employees have come on, different plans, different selections for coverage. Back it up once. So in August, we were showing a 2.9% total increase. Now we're showing 3.2%, $30,000 more. And again, most of that's just that FICA correction of $27,000. Other operating expenditures and capital outlays. So we didn't obviously have this one, right? We asked the board to allow us to go increase everything 3% to match the wages and inflation. In August, we showed 2.9% increase over the budget. Now we're showing 3%, just a little bit more, $3,500. Capital outlays have grown 18,700. Most of that's a reappropriation for an electric bike. So if the police have an electric bike in this year's budget, they're not going to get it. So in a sense, asked to reappropriate that in next year. So that makes up most of it. The rest is just fine tuning some of the capital costs that are in the, but substantially not changed much. We've seen this one grow a lot from August to here. There's some big projects. Unanticipated, 100,000, no change. And then in total, in August, we're actually showing a reduction of other operating expenses of 3.4% for the 27 versus 26. Now we're showing a little less of a reduction, right? Because we're raising the expenses 22. So we're still showing a year over year of a 2.7% decrease from this current budget. And then just putting it all together, and this is inside the budget, the same schedules there. And to me, it's a good one to look at because it really summarizes everything nicely within the general fund. So if you look at total revenues, again, 2.3% compared to last year, $127,000 more we're budgeting in revenue than what we presented in August. Expenditures, we've grown those $52,000 more than we showed in August. So collectively within this general fund, we presented a $1.2 million deficit or reserve total spend in August. That's 1.15 now. So we've actually done better with the tentative budget in front of you. The $74,000 that's highlighted there. And then just quickly to compare the 26 budget to the 27 draft budget, so you can see it real quick. So it's a 2.3% increase in revenue year over year, or $249,000 increase. On the expenditure side is 1.7% increase in expenditures for 27 versus the current year, or $205,000. And so then again, the deficit year over year was 1.19 for this current year we're in. We're projecting that to be a little bit smaller, 1.15 million, 1.1 million. So that's to the good of $44,000 compared to where we are in 26. We're projecting less of a reserve spend this year than last year. Any questions so far? Looking at the camp and dedicated accounts fund. So staff came in September, John and Amy, and they presented the camp plan. And all those projects were incorporated into these, are funded from either the camp fund or the dedicated. Most of them in the camp fund. I'm just going to highlight the changes, and there's not many. Everything is very similar to how they showed it. So this is how we presented the camp fund back in September. A total of $1,063,000 in expenditures. Now in the tentative, we're showing a total of $1,458,000, a difference of $395,000. And those differences are the $50,000 is the additional amount for historic preservation sites, right, and maintenance that might be needed district-wide, and that's something the board wanted to see. So that's in there. The other $345,000 is two natural projects that I thought were supposed to be in the camp for 27, and they're not. They're going to come out of the special revenue fund. They'll be in 28. So when this goes to you in January, I'll be pulling that 345 out. So the only real difference from the August camp that you saw in detail and approved and the tentative budget will be the $50,000 of the historical buildings and structure. On the dedicated accounts, again, that's the other capital fund. I'm showing you just the one project for $300,000. That's for the development of the wayfinding signage on the Prairie Trail. The tentative is 620, it's an additional 320, and that's one project I think everybody's aware of. The Hebron Trail and Lake Road Railroad Crossing. Again, that's tied to the grant that we got from IDOT for 100% of the cost of phase 1 and 2 engineering. And I wanted to call it out because just in reading as I'm putting this together, I was reminded that we were one of 1,900 applicants. And MCD was one of 223 that were actually selected for a grant on that. So it was awesome. So we obviously added that project when that grant was awarded. The other side of the PowerPoint slide up there on the left. So if you go through the budget for almost all of the big capital projects, whether in the capital fund, the dedicated accounts, or special revenue fund, our managers have put together these sheets that do a really nice job of describing the project, the timetable, the costs that are in the budget, any grants related to it. So I just put this one up there to highlight it. It really goes a long way to show what the district's doing with the funds that we have on these projects for all the funds. And again, kudos to the managers. They put a lot of time in putting it together. That helps too, make sure that we get the GFOA budget award each year. Debt service fund, normally I don't talk about it, present it, because all it is contractual payments on the debt, the property taxes come in, they go out to pay the debt. Showing it this year because it's kind of special. So the voter approved GO bonds, total outstanding at the end of this fiscal year, so on March 31st of 26, will be 13,470,000. This is the 27 budget. I'm not sure that really big black dots down there. I can see what you see.
Black hole.
I know. So
For all the debt, we're gonna have it all.
you can see that.
Waiting for the surprise.
Under principal, the total principal payment in this budget is $13,470,000, right? What does that mean? This last levy pays all the debt, the GO bonds are gone. It's pretty amazing. It's a 40% reduction we're estimating now in the total property taxes for next year.
Wow.
It's worth celebrating. We've been looking at this for over 10 years, so,
Happy dance.
yeah, a little heavy, guys. And just as a reminder, the 27 budgets, including a $3.7 million abatement of the debt service levy. This current year or the last prior levy, we abated $3.6 million of that debt service levy. These were dollars that the district was legally entitled to, right? And so we made the choice not to take them. In total, that's $7.4 million that we abated just in these 2 years. Just to keep that going, if you take that $7.4 million of debt service abatement in the last 2 years, and we add the $13.8 million that we've not captured each year by not taking the full PTEL levy, it's a total of $22 million in savings over the last 15 years of taxes the district was entitled to take legally, chose not to do it for several different reasons. That's a really amazing story too. That represents 2 total years of our property tax levy. And just a couple more slides. So this shows the projected starting fund balance or ending fund balance of this current fiscal year, which will start the next one, for each of the funds. And then I'm bringing in the revenue that we're budgeting for each fund in total and subtracting out the expenditures. Total interfund transfers, they'll affect individual funds, but in total, they don't change. We're moving money from one fund to the other. So the total estimated change in fund balance, you can see over here of all the funds together is $1.1 million spend now. And then for the ending balances, we're projecting a general fund ending balance of 101,000, which represents about 1%, right, of operating expenses. That should be 2 million to have 16% or almost 3 to get up to 25% of the bonds. But we know that's going to happen, and that's the liquidity shortfall we're talking about. The good news is there's going to be 2.8 million projected at the end of the fiscal year for all funds, and most of that balance is unrestricted. Most of that can be used as the district needs it, including what's in the debt service. So I'm showing $1 million projected in the debt service. That's all interest income that's been set aside. So because it's interest income, the board could choose to move it to the general fund where it's going to be needed. There's other options there too that would work in our favor. And then just one last slide to look at that. So if we bring in that starting estimated balance for fiscal year 27 at 2.8 million or 2.77, and now I'm just kind of projecting revenues. I use the timing that we know they come in each year for this. Same with expenditures. I've grown everything 3%. You see the net change in cash in April is 743,000 deficit of spend. So that brings our estimated ending cash to $2 million. And take it out one more month, May of 27, total spend is 753,000, takes us down to 1.3 million. And this is a really rough estimate, right? We're gonna refine it as time goes on. And then we get to June, and this is the big one, right? So if I don't have any revenue in June, which isn't the case, we'd be right near the bottom. That's where we're talking about the potential need for a short-term borrowing. What's really helping here a lot is that mitigation revenue that came in, almost $4 million. That's the big difference. This will be the revenue we actually do collect in June, because on average for the last 3 years, we've gotten 25% of our property tax revenue for the whole year. That's the first big payment that comes in too. So when I put that in, we're right away to the good. We're 4.6 million. As we project this out, we're fine, right? We're starting to collect that 3.6 million. So the real question is, how's that timing, between where we are in June when those first big collections come in? This to me looks like we're going to be fine. And again, we'll refine this more as we get into the next calendar year, and if we need to do something toward fall, we would do it. I'm guessing we're not gonna need to. I think we'll be sitting on several $100,000 as we end May of 27, the way it looks right now, which should be enough to get us through to that year. And then just the budget timeline. So again, the board will approve this in January. And it'll go on display for 30 days for the public to inspect if they want. Obviously, there's lots of times if there's some reason you saw something you want to change, let us know, we could incorporate that change. I know we have some tweaks as well that we're gonna make between now and then. And then once we, we'll have it from January 16th, almost 3 weeks to revise the tentative we need to as well. Then in February, the board approved the final one, there'll be a public hearing on it. And obviously in March, like every year, it'll go to the county. And then one other thing that's not in that timeline, but not to forget about, is we do need to pass the abatement. I believe it's a resolution sometime in January. That's all I got.
Sorry.
No questions, actually just more of a statement that, I want an excellent presentation as always, Andy. It really gives a good snapshot, what happened in previous years and what we're looking for ahead. One thing I think would be nice to see would be, the district does just an outstanding job at capturing grant money, and some of that, a big portion of capturing their grant money is because, the history of the district of getting it and then executing those projects 100% going above and beyond. And that obviously that moves forward when those grantees are looking at us for those. But I'd love to see some numbers in terms of, I know it's hard because we don't know the grants that are coming up, but what's coming up for the year, what's possible in that money, and what we've captured in the last year against the budget would look really, really well on the district and how well you guys do at getting as much as possible. So
Yeah,
I always lose track. You guys, when we're doing a project, we applaud you for the grant money that we're getting, but I think when it goes, when we're past the project or it's already in session and being moved forward, we forget that's when you look at that as part of the fiscal year, that's money that was free to the district by paying attention and being out there and doing a good job of writing those proposals.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely all that information is captured throughout the budget, but putting in one spot, it's not a big task to pull it out.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
just
pat you guys on the back and it really looks good. And I mean, the taxpayers benefit so much from all that money. And then talking, hundreds of thousands you guys capture. And I'd love to see it on a slide. So.
Great suggestion.
Yeah, great
That's
point.
good, and we're appreciative because there's a lot of grants that are written internally by staff and with our partners that allow us, like the county that knows what's going on, so we can be positioned well for that. But then also our foundation, the Conservation Foundation,
Yeah.
has been a primary partner to raise funds to help us leverage.
Yeah.
So.
Appreciate that.
Pretty good. Any other comments?
Excellent as usual.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, exciting about the Hebron Trail grant too. That's close to everyone's heart, so it's good that we continue to make progress on it. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along on the agenda, 6.0, new business. 6.1, review of the regular meeting agenda items for December 11th, 2025.
So we have next Tuesday night, several just celebrations to go over with service anniversaries. So you'll be able to look forward to that. I just wanted to highlight a few things. Pretty simple agenda for next week. We have the reappointments of the directors to the foundation, accepting of grant of the award and agreement from the Prairie State Conservation Coalition, and that was to help us with the Bigfoot Woods, which will be closing at the end of December. Before that, but it's all positioned, but that's a big project. And then just FYI on that too, the foundation they also are doing the match for that, and they received another grant as well to help offset. So it's a lot of good, again, back to your point, a lot of funding coming into
Yeah.
where no taxpayer dollars is going towards this really critical legacy project. So well done on that. And then we have our regular payment this time of year for the general fund funding bonds. And that is pretty much it for Tuesday night. Pretty straightforward.
Very good. Questions? Very good. Any other, moving on to 7.0, any other comments, Elizabeth?
I do. I want to thank everyone that helped either to prepare for or attended the Green Drinks. The Environmental Defenders has their regular, and they sponsor the Green Drinks program at Duke's. And we have our annual December celebration of all the conservation victories that occur with all the nonprofits, governmental entities, and everybody involved in the space. And that was well attended, and it was wonderful to just see how much has been accomplished for the district and all our other partners throughout the year.
Yeah, I thought it was very inspirational to see all the different groups, how they all fit in and how much they just volunteer. And I thought your presentation was really good too, Elizabeth, so thank you.
Thank you. Well, good information. What's not made to see all the wins and to try to get it all in. We only had like 4 minutes.
4 minutes per.
We ended up losing one of the slides, and unfortunately, we didn't get to shout out of our trip to Washington, but so they cut that out. But anyhow, we got it all in. Just a reminder, the state conference in January, if you're interested, so thank you. I know Treasurer Zimmerman's interested, Trustee Secretary Zeller, so there's still let us know. That is January 29th through the 31st down in Chicago. We've got our legislative luncheons on the Friday. There's an association meeting and just great educational conferences, sessions for elected officials. Giving Tuesday, again, just a big shout out and thanks for everyone that supported the foundation. Things went well, and there's still opportunities to give towards their giving. Some things up. I bought through Amazon this year, I think, to donate things to for the children's programs. And then lastly, here I had one note. I just wonder why we have again, thank you, Pete Dawson, for your leadership and service. You will be really missed. It's been great to work with you as a cohort and to collaborate in this spirit of a call that I could always depend on to help and navigate. So again, we'll be greatly missed and appreciate Chairman Bueller. His leadership. He's here this evening for his continued Hike with Mike events that we've had all year long, and he's signed up for ready to go into next year. Yeah, right. So
Sights unseen this time.
sights unseen. So we're getting some places
I have him for the quarry.
you do. Yes.
You're a consistent body.
So we appreciate that. It's really great to spend time and to be out there. So that's it. And then reserve the date. I think we've already shared with you to get your RSVPs in. Hopefully you can join the foundation for on the 21st for the winter solstice at Lost Valley Visitor Center, Tricksters Cultural Center. I'm hosting their event, and we're kind of piggyback on that. And so we've got past board members, foundation members coming together with staff just to celebrate that. That brings me to the other item you should have received from Shauna. From our shared joint meeting retreats, all the tabulation of all the great work that was done during those 2 workshop meetings. Shauna, myself, and Caitlin were working through kind of the project assignments that are going to go out, and then we'll be able to report that back to how that's going to look to the foundation at their January meeting, and then we'll report that back to this group. So be ready. You'll be involved in some way, somehow, so we can bring that into full speed. We all signed up for it, and but a good year to help promote, particularly with the Forward to 2040 plan and how we want to get positioned with our development.
Anything else, Elizabeth?
That's it. Just thank the board, thank the staff. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Moving on to 8.0. Does anyone have any other business?
I'll have a trustees report at the meeting next week.
Okay, very good. You. Moving on to 9.0, public comments 2. Are there any public comments? Anybody out there?
I'm not seeing any raised hands online.
Okay, very good. If there are no other thoughts or comments, we will move to adjourn. Make a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Secretary Zeller,
Yes.
trustee Leahy,
Yeah.
treasurer Zimmerman,
Yes.
vice president Wazorek,
Yes.
trustee Dario.
Yes.
All right, there.